Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
How Buddhist philosophy can actually help us achieve success.
It's a really cool perspective, actually.
Yeah.
We always think about success as like, hard work, strategy, a little bit of luck, but this source material, it's really focused on mindset.
Yeah.
On our inner world. And it's like a motivational talk.
Okay.
But with a Buddhist twist to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
So it's not just what we do, but how we think about success.
Exactly. And you know what? The material starts by talking about these roadblocks.
Okay.
These like negative mindsets that we all kind of face.
Yeah.
On the way to reaching our goals.
We all have those for sure.
Yeah. So it's almost like clearing out the mental clutter.
Right.
Before you even start building.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. And the first one it dives right into is fear of failure.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever felt like that?
Absolutely, like it's a wall.
Right.
Whenever I'm about to try something new or step outside of my comfort zone.
It's so relatable, and that's where the Buddhist perspective comes in.
Go.
The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering.
Right.
And that can be applied to fear of failure.
Oh, wow.
When we're so attached to that perfect outcome, we become paralyzed by the fear of not achieving it.
So it's not the failure itself that's bad.
It's the attachment to the result. Like if we can reframe these quote-unquote failures as feedback or opportunities to learn, then they don't have that power over us anymore.
I love that. Yeah.
Even like the epic fails.
Yeah.
We can learn from those.
For sure.
And we can grow from them.
Yeah, I've heard that before, but it really clicks for me, hearing it in this Buddhist philosophy.
Yeah, and what's cool too is that the source connects this non-attachment to mindfulness.
Okay.
It encourages us to observe these scary thoughts without judgment.
Right.
Recognizing that they're just thoughts, not facts. So it's not about getting caught in the what ifs. You acknowledge it and then choose to move forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond to these feelings and thoughts.
That's so powerful.
It is.
But what about comparing ourselves to others?
Oh, yeah.
I think this is a huge obstacle for people.
Yeah, with social media.
Everyone's highlight reels constantly.
It's a trap that's so easy to fall into.
Oh, yeah.
And the source material talks about this directly.
Okay.
It says that each person's journey is unique, and comparing ourselves to others is like comparing apples and oranges.
It's true.
It doesn't make any sense.
But it's so hard when we're constantly bombarded with these images of seemingly perfect lives.
And that's where this Buddhist teaching, peace comes from within, comes in.
I like that.
Yeah, the source material talks about how true happiness and peace aren't found in validation or achievements, but in cultivating this inner contentment.
So instead of seeking outside validation, we have to find it within ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay, but how do we do that?
It starts by shifting that focus inward. So instead of constantly looking outside comparing, we practice mindfulness. We pay attention to our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own experiences in this present moment.
Tuning out the distractions.
Yeah, tuning out the noise.
Connecting with ourselves.
When you find that peace, that stillness within the comparison and the need for validation just fades away.
It really does.
And we can focus on our own unique path and celebrate our own progress no matter how small.
Yeah. Love it. It's funny, we're talking about these mental traps. And I'm realizing how much they tie into our habits.
Right.
Like our negative mindsets can actually lead to some pretty bad behaviors.
You're so right. It's a huge point in the source material. It's like our thoughts and our actions. And it dives into these specific habits that can really sabotage our success. And it's interesting because it all links back to those negative mindsets we were talking about.
So which one do you think is the biggest culprit?
Well, I think we can all relate to this one, procrastination.
Oh, yeah.
The source material calls it the silent thief of time.
Oh, that's good.
And it's true. Like, it's crazy how much time and energy we waste putting things off.
Oh, my gosh. I'm the queen of procrastination.
That's great.
Sometimes I thrive on that last-minute adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But deep down, I know it's not a sustainable way to work.
You know what's at the root of procrastination? It's fear.
Oh.
Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success even.
That's so true.
We avoid taking action because it just feels safer than facing those fears head on.
Okay, so how do we break free?
Right.
Because I think a lot of us struggle with this.
So a lot of people do.
What does the source material say?
Well, it gives us some really practical advice, actually.
Okay.
Based on these Buddhist principles.
Okay.
It says to break down tasks into smaller steps. So instead of looking at that huge, overwhelming goal,
Right.
you can focus on just taking one small action.
That makes sense because sometimes I get so overwhelmed by the big picture,
Right.
I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
But if I can just think about that next little step,
Right.
it feels so much less daunting.
And the source material also mentions that even these small actions, if you do them consistently, can actually lead to amazing results. Like the compound effect.
Right.
These tiny changes over time make a huge impact.
I'm going to try that. Okay, so what about another habit that can be a real time suck?
Yeah.
And a bit of an emotional roller coaster, social media?
Oh, yeah. The source material calls it a double-edged sword.
I like that.
You know, it can be great for connecting and getting inspiration.
Right.
But it can also bring up comparison, self-doubt, even anxiety, if we're not careful.
I've been there.
Right.
Like I've fallen into that trap before where I compare myself.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
It is.
To get sucked into the highlight reel.
Right.
And feel inadequate.
And that's where mindfulness comes in.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's about being aware of how we're using social media and being intentional about how we engage with it.
So instead of mindlessly scrolling, we need to be more conscious of what we're looking at.
Exactly, and how it's making us feel. Like the source material asks, is this content inspiring? Is it uplifting? Is it adding value to my life?
Right.
Or is it just making me feel bad about myself?
Those are great questions to ask.
Right, so if the answer is no, it might be time to unfollow or mute.
Absolutely.
Or just limit our time on it.
Yeah. I'm definitely guilty of letting social media take over my life.
I think we all are.
It's like I can't even enjoy a meal without taking a picture.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's about finding that balance, right? And the source material also talks about something that's really important but often neglected, rest.
Oh.
I'm bad at that. I think a lot of us are.
Yeah.
Especially in this productivity-obsessed culture.
Right. Like, I feel guilty if I'm not constantly doing something.
Right, but the source material says rest isn't a luxury, it's essential.
Okay.
It's essential for our physical and our mental well-being.
Yeah.
And when we are well-rested,
we're
more productive or we're more creative.
That's true.
In the long run.
It's not being lazy. It's about taking care of ourselves.
It is, so we can show up as our best selves.
Exactly. And the source material ties this back to that Buddhist teaching of the middle way.
Yeah.
Finding balance in all things.
It's about avoiding the extremes.
Right.
Finding that sweet spot between work and rest activity and stillness.
I like that.
It's not about being a workaholic or a couch potato.
Right.
It's about finding that balance that works for you.
So we've talked about mindset, we've talked about habits.
Right.
And they're all interconnected.
They are.
But there's another piece to this puzzle that the source material talks about.
Right.
Our environment.
You're right. It's almost like we've been talking about the internal factors, you know, the thoughts, the actions.
Right.
But our environment plays a huge role in our success, too.
Oh, yeah.
People we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
The spaces we're in.
Right.
The energy. It all matters.
It's like creating fertile ground for success to blossom.
It is.
So where do we begin with cultivating a supportive environment? Well, the source material starts by talking about our social circle.
Okay.
You know that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
Makes you think about who you're letting into your inner circle.
It's true. It's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
The people we're around, they influence our thoughts, our beliefs, even our behavior.
It's true.
It's like we're absorbing their energy.
Right.
So if we're spending time with people who are negative or unmotivated, that can rub off on us.
It's true. It can.
Right? It's not about judging people. It's more about being aware of the energy that we're letting in. Are our relationships lifting us up and supporting us?
Right.
Or are they holding us back?
It's like choosing your travel companions.
Exactly.
You want people who are going to make the journey better.
Right.
Not harder.
And that leads us to toxic relationships.
Oh, yeah.
These can be so draining.
Yeah.
Even if we don't realize it.
Right.
It can affect our confidence.
Yeah.
Sabotage our efforts.
Yeah.
Leave us feeling just exhausted.
They're like energy vampires.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And sometimes letting go of those relationships.
Yeah.
Even though it can be painful.
Right.
It's the best thing we can do.
For sure.
It creates space for those healthy, supportive relationships to come in.
I like that The source material also talks about decluttering our physical space.
Yeah.
Is there a connection between like a cluttered space?
Oh, there totally is.
Okay.
Cluttered mind. It can create overwhelmed stress anxiety.
Yeah.
It's like our physical environment is a reflection of what's going on inside.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if we want to create a supportive environment
right.
for success, we need to start by decluttering.
Yeah, you get it.
Right? Organizing our space.
Makes sense.
Creating a space that feels calm and organized and inspiring can really have a positive impact on our mood, our productivity, even our creativity.
Like we're clearing out the cobwebs so we can think clearly.
You got it.
Yeah.
And it's not just our physical space.
Okay.
It's our digital space too.
What do you mean?
Our inboxes.
Right.
Our social media feeds.
Right.
Our phone screens, all of it.
So creating order and intentionality
exactly.
in all areas of our lives.
Yeah. And this idea of environment, it goes even beyond our immediate surroundings.
Okay.
The source material talks about finding our tribe.
I like that.
Yeah. You know, the people who share our values, who support our goals.
Who inspire us to be our best.
It's like that Buddhist concept of Sangha.
Yes, exactly.
The community of like-minded people.
Yeah.
Supporting each other.
It's so important to have that sense of belonging.
It is.
Yeah, feeling like you're part of something bigger.
Right? And it's not just about receiving support, it's about giving support.
That's right. A two-way street.
Yeah, this has been such a great deep dive.
It has.
We've covered so much.
We have, from our mindset to our environment, it's all connected.
So as we wrap up,
what's
one key takeaway you want our listeners to have from this?
Well, you know, the source material really stressed that our thoughts create our reality.
Right.
So I would ask our listener, what kind of reality are you creating?
Wow.
With your thoughts, your actions, the environment you're cultivating?
That's such a powerful question.
It is. You know, we have the power to shape our own destiny.
One thought, one action, one connection at a time.
Exactly. And even small changes can make a big difference.
It's a journey.
It is.
Of growth.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
We hope you learned something.
We hope you're feeling inspired.
To create a life that's both successful and fulfilling.
And remember.
Yes.
The journey starts within.
It does.
Yeah.